go ahead and get started. My name is John Taylor. I'm the president of Tertium Quids. The way we're going to do this today is I'm going to make some opening remarks. Then we're going to have three legislators talk specifically about budget transparency. Then we're going to open this up for questions. We're going to take questions from the media first. If there's time left at the end, we'll open up the questions to the general audience. The purpose of the meeting is to talk about the upcoming General Assembly session and some of the bills that will be coming up that we will be supporting. And I'm just going to take about 15 seconds on 4 different bills here. Well, budget transparency, I'm going to say a little bit more. But one, we're going to go back and revisit eminent domain reform. You will know that in 2007, we got an eminent domain bill through the General Assembly, but it was in the form of a statute. And what we're going to do is try to go back and get the similar language in a constitutional amendment. You'll know that in Virginia, you have to get a constitutional amendment passed once. There has to be an intervening election, and it has to be passed by the new General Assembly. With an intervening election this November, this is the year for us to do this. Mark Obenshain and Rob Bell will be the people carrying that respectively in the Senate and the House. Second, a constitutional amendment safeguarding the Transportation Trust Fund. If you were here in the last meeting, you heard Lieutenant Governor Bowling talk about that. Transportation is a big issue in Virginia, and transportation will continue to be a big issue in Virginia. And we think that we'd like to put the Transportation Trust Fund off limits from the funds in that fund being used for anything except transportation. Third, of the Transportation Trust Fund, that is Senator Steve Martin and Delegate Rob Bell that will be introducing that in the Senate and the House. Sunset provisions. We are proposing sunset provisions on all new taxes, fees, and markups, or to existing increases in existing taxes, fees, and markups. As I mentioned in the last session, in this state, and I'm sure it's like this in every state, the victory tax to raise revenue for World War II, the B-poll tax here in Virginia, business, professional, and occupational licensing tax was put on the books to raise money to fight the War of 1812. Good efforts, all, but we can get rid of those taxes now and not let this happen again in the future. The thing we're going to really be talking about, though, and highlighting this year is budget transparency. This is an issue whose time has come. We started promoting this last year, but what's happened in the intervening months has made this even more critical. The three gentlemen that we have to speak on this today, Ken Cuccinelli, Chap Peterson, and Ben Klein, are going to be our patrons. And the budget transparency at the federal level, for the last 8 weeks, 10 weeks, we've been looking at a complete meltdown that not only seems to have taken some of our federal officials by surprise, but certainly has taken, I think, the people of the United States by surprise. Increasingly, we're hearing states that are in financial trouble, whether it's California or some of the New England states. And once again, this would not be the case if we lived in an environment of everything being out in the open, everything being out in sunlight. We would be able to see problems occurring before they become a crisis and would be able to react to them ahead of time. And that's what we're trying to do. Last week at George Mason University, President-elect Barack Obama, who was one of the sponsors of the federal legislation for budget transparency, made the following quote. He said, "Instead of politicians doling out money behind a veil of secrecy, decisions about where we invest will be made transparently. Every American will be able to hold Washington accountable for these decisions by going online to see how and where their tax dollars are being spent. And as I announced yesterday, we will launch an unprecedented effort to eliminate unwise and unnecessary spending that has never been more unaffordable for our nation and our children's future than it is right now." Now, Barack Obama did not say we're going to do this somewhere in the future when we've got less on our plate. Or we're going to do this somewhere in the future when we're not in a fiscal crisis. He said, it has never been more important to do this than right now. And I would agree with him on that.